Good evening, everyone, and welcome to HBR19 coming to you from Yorkshire. Tonight, we'll be doing 5 laps of the anti-clockwise small loop in Harrogate, and according to Strava, that will be 2.9 kilometres per lap with a 2.4 kilometre lead-in, which will take us up to 16.9 kilometres. According to Zwift Power, that is 18 kilometres, and according to Zwift Companion, that is 17.4. I'm joined tonight again by Jake Sanderson, Ed Finney, and Gordon Sloan, and tonight we'll be following Alison Lowe, Kevin Frutt, Ole Kobalecki, and if I've pronounced your surname, I apologise, and Gordon's going to be our man on the course. Jake, have you any experience at all of this course?
I don't. Good evening, James. So just thanks for that intro. I don't have any experience of this course particularly, but I have ridden Yorkshire as a whole. So this is going to be exciting. I've got a good feeling about this. We've got. I'm watching Kevin Frutt, who I'm expecting big things from at the front. He sweeps with myself on the herd gallops with Chris ride, our faster ride on a Tuesday. I've seen him in action. It's painful just trying to hold on to his wheel. So he's going to be able to cause plenty of damage here, I think, at the front, going up against other heavyweights such as Todd de Boer and Max Szymanski. So expecting great things at the front tonight. Over to Ed.
Go, 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 go. And we are off. I'm following Alison Lowe tonight, and she is setting off at a steady pace of around about 3.0 to 3.3 watts per kilo. And she is hanging around with the rest of the group, doing a great job so far. Gordon, how's the start going?
Yep, started all right in the front group. A bit fast for me, but a little group of 5 at the moment, so I'll just try and hang on their wheels as long as I can, see what advantage I can get over the rest of my category. I'm not going too fast at the moment, so we'll just see how it goes.
Now, currently, Ola is he's trying to catch the group in front of him. He's pushing hard. He was running around 3.2, currently in the 2.3 zone. Ola's been running good in the DCAT, holding about 12th position in the league, and he's working hard to stay on the tail and catch a draft.
How's the powertrain up front, Jake?
We've got a team of 6 here, including Todd and I'm pleased to say Kevin. Doesn't look like Max is with us today, so apologies for that. But yeah, we've got a certain herd of sandbagger Gordon Sloan in here as well. So quite an exciting little front group. I think Kevin's going to lead the way here. I'd expect him and Todd to be, at the top, at least on the podium, and who knows, could even get a win here for the herd tonight. Kevin is drilling it on the front at about 4 watts per kilo.
Good job, Kevin. Alison's found a nice little group with her Zone 1 team time trial herd of Buffalo teammate Brian Sultana. We also have Kyle No Guts, who apparently races for Ostomy. And there's another sort of 3 or 4, just another, I think the 5th or 6th just joining the group now, and they're making fairly steady progress as we head down towards the loop.
Looks like Ola's about 3 seconds behind Alison Lowe. And he's got Janice Riskadal coming up behind him, another herd rider. So currently Ola is on his own, so he's pushing hard to try and catch that group in front of him. It's a really difficult race when you don't have someone to draft off of, so hopefully he can catch up.
Talking about the course momentarily, we talk about it being an anti-clockwise loop. Basically, it is partially flat, with a fairly steady, probably 3 to 4% climb on the far side before you come back downhill. When you come back downhill, you go over the sprint banner, which is also the lap banner for the sake of this race. The elevation per lap, I think we're probably looking at around about 40 meters, depending on which source you look at. So it's not one of the hillier ones. It's definitely nothing compared to HBR19 last week when we had the 2 climbs of the New York KOM. But it's a little lumpy. So I think it'll probably suit your average rider with a bit of pace, but also the heavier ones will probably struggle on the hill. Jake, what are you seeing up front?
So we've still got a group of 6 here. We've got Gordon's been distanced a little bit, which is understandable with the watts that are being thrown here at the front. Still got Todd and Kevin both sat at the front with a few of the riders that I don't recognise, but all seem perfectly capable of just sort of sitting here as a mini peloton for now. So I'm expecting once we hit the inclines to see some attacks and potentially that group split. Did threaten to split a little bit earlier, but it's managed to stick together so far.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some breakups in Alison's group. She's now on her own a bit. Brian is about a second behind her, Carl another 2 seconds back, with a couple of the other guys sort of 5, 6, 7 seconds in front. Just hitting the sprint line now, so we're not far away from the start of the first lap. Ed, over to you.
Yeah, so Ola's in a group about 28 seconds back from the leader. Looks like he's probably about 9 seconds back from Allison and Brian's group. She's got Jessica Riskendahl in there, John Richardson, CJ Shaw is coming up behind him. Ola's still on his own. He's having a hard time catching up there, so he's having to work. He's having to work this thing. So hopefully he can hook up to someone that he can be drafting off to, but he does have people drafting off of him.
I'm going to jump in here at the front. We've got, just as predicted, when we hit that 6% incline just before the banner, there was an attack from M-Tam, who broke away from the group, followed closely by Kevin. Those two managed to put in a gap of about 4 seconds to the other 4 riders. One of those riders has just bridged across, a D. Williams, so we now have a front group of 3, including Kevin, and then a group which is now only 3 seconds behind them, including Todd. So it's not all over for Todd yet, but he's going to have to try and work with that little group to try and group back on. But Kevin didn't attack, he went with the attack, so he's conserving energy. He looks very, very comfortable here, and I think he's going to be in with a very good shout of potentially winning this if he keeps this up.
Seeing Gordon with a nice little group of 4 or 5, and relatively predictably, Gordon, well, I was going to say Gordon was at the back of that group, but he's now just steaming up a little bit. How are you feeling, Gordon?
Yeah, not too bad. Also, on the first hill, managed to get up to speed and catch on this group, but they're still going quite fast, so I don't know if I can keep this pace up for the whole race, but I'll use their draft and to just try distance. It looks like quite a big group behind us, 30-40 seconds back, so the more advantage I can get on them before I'm dropped, the better.
And you never know, if you're struggling a little bit, they might be as well, so hopefully you can hang on for as long as you can.
Right, currently Ola kept his position up the incline. He's there's 2 of them there now, he and John Richardson, and looks like John's taking the lead, so hopefully Ola can get in the draft here and get a little bit of rest. Ola's been running himself ragged, just really pushing hard and staying in the front.
Good job, Ole. Alison is definitely out on her own. She's now 30 seconds behind Gordon, and she's got a little 2-second lead over Brian Sultana, and the others are sort of 6 seconds plus behind. So it could be a lonely one, but Brian and others may well catch up on the flatter sections. Jake, what's going on up front?
So the group just behind Kevin is closing. They've managed to close it from about 45 to just 20 metres, a gap of 2 seconds as we've hit a 5%, now 4% incline. Only 15 metres behind now, so it looks like they are just going to catch back on, but they've had to really push the watts. It looks like the person on the front of that group's been doing between 4.5 and 5 just to try and close the distance. So as I'm saying that, they've basically come back together now. But yeah, Kevin's been doing fantastically well. These sort of short, sharp inclines suit him very well. He's a veteran of our Alp Dash on the Sundays, where he's averaged a crazy 4.0 for the whole event, including bursts of 4.3 watts per kilo for 20 minutes. So he's perfectly suited to these sorts of climbs, and as I said before, he seems very, very comfortable for now. Would have liked to have seen him drill it a little bit on the front to sort of keep that group behind at bay, but in his own words, he's not the best sprinter, so we may see something a little bit earlier from him in terms of trying to spring a surprise on the opponent, but we'll have to see. As I say, it's looking comfortable now, and yeah, that group's come back together, so a front group of about four riders with Todd de Boer just a second or two behind.
Sounds good. Alison's actually found some friends now. There's about 5 or 6 of them within a sort of 2-second gap. Alison's normally capable of holding on to 3.1 over 20 minutes, but she lives over in Australia where they've had some pretty horrendous bushfires, and she was actually displaced from her home for a while, and she's only just got the electric back, so I think she's probably been off her bike for a bit. So whether or not we'll see her normal level of power, we don't know, but she's hanging on nicely to 16th spot at the moment and doing a great job. How's Ole doing, Ed?
Ola was falling off a bit. We had a group of about 3 come past him, but we're on a bit of an incline now, so he's actually passing everyone. Hopefully he'll stick with him. He's pushing right at an average of 2.5 watts per kilogram, so if he doesn't watch it, he's going to get himself bumped up to Cat C. But doing really well on the incline, so hopefully he'll catch this draft off these people that are with him. They are fast, so that could be a good thing for him to get back there, get a little bit of rest, maybe get the average watts per kilogram down a bit, and ride it in.
I think what we should also say is Ole's been a great success story over the last sort of 3 or 4 months. He was an ECAT, so sub 2, when the winter season started, and he put a lot of time and effort into doing a lot of the outdash races, and he's now pushed himself up to be a strong D. So if he pushes himself up to C, that's a great effort.
Yeah, he's really doing well. He's averaging 2.6 now. He's right in there with CJ Shaw, and trying to hold the wheel there. There's A Hong just pulled in behind him. So if we can get him on a draft, it's just going to help him out. And we just hit the incline to the banner, so this is a pretty steep one at 6%. So he's moving along really well, pushing 3.8 watts a kilogram. So great work for all.
Yeah, Ali's just gone through the banner with her little group, and they're definitely holding a nice pace, just averaging a smidge over 30 kilometers an hour. Just heading into a little decline of 2% to get the legs back before we head round again for the longer climb.
Right, looks like Brian Sultana has fallen off of Ali's group, but he'll probably be picked up with Ola as they come up on it.
Yeah, it looks like there's only sort of a 6-7 second gap between Brian and the group that you've been following tonight. Jake, is it pretty much all the same up front?
Yeah, so once we hit the second banner, we saw a mini attack from the same fellow as last time, but it didn't stick, and the group came back together. What is worth of noting is I've just been paying attention, and we've seen a B Oddvar from Norway has managed to close a gap of what looks to have been over a minute in very, very short space of time by doing between 5.5 and 6 watts per kilo, and he's just joined this group. So suspiciously fast there, Oddvar, but he or she seems to have just sort of joined this group and not attacked it. So maybe they just did a super big effort to try and get into the draft of the group, and we'll see what happens. But very strange. You see riders come out of nowhere, close gaps like that. So it'll be interesting to see how Kevin responds.
Well, we've definitely seen some of your big pulls when you've had some technical difficulties at the start of a TTT, closing up gaps of a minute. So maybe they've just had a really, really big push.
It's true. He might be chasing Simon Gregory on the Tour of Hodopia. It's very, very possible.
Very good. Alison is still hanging on to her group. She's now 7.2 kilometers down with about 10 to go, depending on what the actual distance is. We're at 16.9, 17.4, 18. Who knows? We don't. Ed, over to you.
Yeah, it looks like they're lead rider's about 8.2 kilometers in. I'm watching also on Zwift Power Live, so it's interesting to be able to watch the spread of the riders who are signed up with Zwift Power. So anybody riding out there who wants to have their results count needs to make sure they're signed up with Zwift Power, because I noticed that a lot of riders that are in the race are not in Zwift Power, so they're not showing up. Right now, Ola is doing great. He's hanging in there with John Richardson, and the two of them are are moving right along. Ola's pulling 3.5 up at 2%, pulling away a little bit. And he did all on that draft, though. He's still working hard, so he's still looking strong.
Good work, Ole. Alison's just coming up to a hilly section now, just hanging on to about 3%, and she seems to be doing a great job of hanging in with her group. Gordon is about 21, 22 seconds up the road, so whether or not this group will catch them, we don't know. How are you doing, Gordon?
Yeah, just trying to push up the hill now. We did have a group of 5, but one rider's managed to get off the front. We've got a half a minute lead on us now, but I'm just about pushing at my 20-minute FTP, so just trying to hang on to this group, because I know if I get dropped, Alison and the rest of her group will soon catch me up, so just doing what I can to stay with this lot.
Good work, Gordon. Keep it up. Jake, how's the group up front?
So we've just seen our first lapped rider of the day. I'm surprised it's taken this long to do so, to be fair. We're 9.6 now kilometres in, so pretty good going to have only just lapped the first, or presumably last rider. And the group remains the same. We dropped our Tam, who was fond of making those attacks just before the banner, so we didn't get one this time, and it's been reduced to a group of just 5. B Odvar has proceeded to just sort of sit at the front of the group, almost sort of pulling, but settling into a rhythm of about between 4 and 4.2. So I think you were probably right. They were doing some sort of effort to close technical difficulties gap there, and I get the feeling that we're bubbling up for this is the calm before the storm. Everybody's doing not particularly big watts, and then things sort of spike a little bit. So I think people are just sort of testing, probing with the attacks, and things are about to get messy when we get into the final 2 laps.
Yeah, Ali's just gone through the banner to finish second lap, and she is currently leading out her little group of, I think there's really just 3 of them now. It's a guy called S-Trek in front of her, who was doing about, holding about 2.5 watts per kilo with little spikes of 10. Who knows? But yeah, no, she's holding steady. Around about between sort of 2.5 and 3 watts a kilo. She's a good sustained effort, and she's just finished the climb and has a little bit of respite for now.
And we've just gone over the top here. Down to the group of 3 now. Front rider and S Doyle pushed up to the banner. Gap us by about 10 seconds and still pulling over 3 watts a kilo, so I don't think our little group's going to catch them. Certainly I don't have the legs to catch them without blowing up, so down to a group of 3.
Ola's just hitting the banner, just got through the 6% incline. He's about a second ahead of John Richardson and making time on Brian Sultana, Ahong, CJ Shaw are in his headlights. He's still pushing hard. He's been his 20-minute average is 2.7 watts a kilogram, so he's doing really well with the 2.6 average for the race.
Yeah, that's a fantastic effort from Ole.
We've just seen...
I wouldn't be surprised if he had an FTP increase after this. He's doing really well, but he's having to work himself hard. He's hitting 3.2 right now, I think, trying to close the gap.
Sorry, Jake.
We've just seen one of our 5 riders dropped an attack by B Odvar in the front of between 6 and 7 watts per kilo. Saw Kevin go with him. One of the other 2 riders managed to bridge across, but one of them was dropped and is now about 5 seconds back. B Odvar keeps sort of putting in those probing attacks, and I think he could be a real threat here. We're now down to 4 riders as we hit our 4th lap.
Not too far to go. Ali is hanging on in a little group of 3, just heading a nice 7% decline, which let's face it, everyone loves those, and making steady progress. Just gone over 10 kilometers, so about 7 to go. And from my experience, once you get below 10, you start to count down every single one of them. Gordon, how's your group hanging on?
Yeah, still got a little group of 3. Managed to close that gap a wee bit to Estoil. We're on the, I think it's the first part of the uphill climb, so see if we can maybe push up, make it into a group of 4 again for the next lap. That'll be the aim. Plus just sticking with these guys.
So Ola has dropped John Richardson he's back about 7 seconds, but he is all by himself. He's 7-8 seconds behind the group of 3 in front of him. He's working hard to try and close the gap, but as we all know, if you don't have a draft in a group, it's really difficult to make that jump. So he's still working hard, and we're hoping he can make some time up here and catch this group and get some draft.
Yep, definitely. And Alison looks like she may actually be coming to lap June Fisher, who's having a fairly steady ride, and S-Trek, who was banging out the sort of 10 watt per kilo segments earlier on, is only 9 seconds up front now, so not too far away, and they're hanging on around about sort of 28 to 30 seconds behind Gordon's group, and doing generally a very good job. Just having a quick look now at Zwift Power Live. So front group really doesn't have that far to go now, under 5 kilometers, and we're seeing some big numbers. Kevin Flood, who Jake's following, is averaging 3.9, and Dylan Williams for Velocious is averaging 4.0. So some big numbers up there, lots of high threes, and it will not be too long before they get to the finish now.
Just to put that into perspective, the rider that got dropped just a moment or two ago that I mentioned is now 45 seconds back and has been holding a steady 3.7 watts per kilo since then. So that's the pace of the front group, just to put that into perspective.
And Alison is just crossing the line yet again, using her truck draft to hang with the group. Group still a bunch of 3, now 19 seconds behind S-Trek and about 42 behind Gordon, but that could well just be the changes in incline, because sometimes on Zwift, when you have some gradient shifts, the timings go a little bit out the window, but they will settle down again before too long. Alison just in a little bit of a danger of losing the front 2, but she seems to be grabbing on again. How's Ole doing, Ed?
He's doing really well out there, but the group behind him is pushing hard. They've got a group of about 4. The lead guy, B. Advar, he was pushing 6 watts a kilo. Okay, he just hitting lapped by the lead group. That's what we've got going there. And Kevin just went flying by. Hopefully Ola doesn't try and grab onto that wheel. That'd be a tough one. But currently he's 6 seconds on either side of the folks that he's running against. He just hit the incline heading for the banner. And just as a note, his average watt output for the race is right on his FTP, so he's really working.
Good job, Ole. Jake, I think you're just hitting the last lap.
We are indeed. As Ed pointed out there, we just went past Ole and B. Odvar putting an attack of about 6-7 watts per kilo on the hill. Kevin did exceptionally well to sort of close that gap that opened up to about 10 metres. He did fantastically to pull him back. So we're still at a group of 4. This is still all to play for. I would hope that Kevin goes early, as he said he might. I think B. Odvar is probably, the main danger right now. I think that D. Williams, from what I can tell, is able to sprint on, so potentially he's trying to conserve as much energy in true sandbagger fashion. Might have seen some clips on YouTube from our superstar Gordon, who is also racing. So yeah, not long to go. We're at 15.3 kilometers. I'll shout back when we hit, say, 16.2. I think the minimum it's going to be is 16.4 if James, if I remember James correctly. So we'll definitely jump back in before the end, but things are very, very much together right now.
Ali's still in her group of 3. I strongly suspect that it will be these guys up until the end in this group, battling for, let me see, we've got 14, 15 and 16th place in the race. Just hitting a nice little incline now. But it's not too far to go at the front. I reckon they've probably got about 2 kilometres to go. So we'll switch back to Jake shortly. But just before we do, let's just have a quick update from Gordon.
Yeah, we're back on the hill for the 4th lap. Our little group's managed to close the gap to Estel, so he's obviously paid a wee bit for going out there on his own. A wee bit off the back, but just closing down the gap. And we can get a group of 4 for our last lap, that'll be good. Doing a bit of checking on Zwift power. It looks like only one of them is registered. And S. Henry, he appears to have quite a good sprint, and his average power for 20 minutes is above me, so that's going to be a big challenge to get ahead of him.
Looks like Chris Small is there as well, the www.lacorsa.cc rider. I'm seeing on Zwift Power Live, you guys all at the same sort of time difference.
I
so I think
as well.
Yeah, so I think it's down to you 3 guys for the sprint towards the end. But I think
just
up
get
front,
gapped a bit here. We have to really push up to the line.
yeah, keep on pushing. I think we've probably got only down to the last kilometre at the front. Jake, do you want to take it from here?
We are at 16.9 kilometres, so very, very short distance left on the clock here. We've still got 4 riders. It's very much to play for. Kevin's managed to put in a small attack. He was doing maybe 5.5 watts per kilo. It didn't stick. So we're still together. Biodvar's on the front, drilling it, as has been the case for most of this second half of the ride. So we're about to find out what's going to happen. I'm really, really hopeful that Kevin's going to be able to get himself a podium. He sure deserves it. We hit the sprint line now. So it's Biodvar on the front doing 5.8 watts per kilo. Kevin just at the back, taking as much draft as he can. D. Williams has just moved behind him. So we got a train of 4 riders, one after the other. This is going to be interesting. Biodvar's putting an attack. So just leading up to the line here, we've just hit the hill. We're about 100 metres out. Biodvar's probably going to win this. He's managed to distance everybody, doing 10.3. Kevin is in second place. D. Williams is putting in an attack as well. He's sprinting just around Kevin. Kevin's going to hold on for 3rd place here. He's distanced G. Williams. Fantastic effort, Kevin. Really well done. Holds on for 3rd place. Fantastic effort. His average watts there must have been at 3.9, if not 4 watts per kilo for that 25 minutes. He's done amazingly well there. Really brutal attack at the end. You would never guess that they were going uphill. The numbers were what you'd see on a flat 200 metre sprint finish, including Kevin. So he says he's not a sprinter. He managed to hold on for 3rd there. Fantastic effort. So I'll hand back over to you, James. But really well done, Kevin, and way to represent the herd and take a podium place and a medal for us. Fantastic stuff.
Well done, Kevin. Great job. Just having a quick look on Zwift Power and can confirm that those 3 are all on Zwift Power, so it is a genuine 3rd place for Kevin. Super job. Alison, meanwhile, is still hanging on with a group of 3. They've got about 2.5 kilometres to go, so by my reckoning, that'll put her on the last lap. Still hanging a fair old distance behind Gordon, who's hanging strong up front.
Dropped off my little group a wee bit now. 11-second gap, so we're pretty tough to catch them, but I'll see what effort I can do on the uphill.
You've got about 30 seconds to the group behind, so even if you do drop your group, then your position is
I'm happy I'm not going to get overtaken and possibly in
safe.
3rd place. So I'll see what I can do up the hill, but I don't think I'm going to catch them.
Yeah, we don't want any of this slacking off. Say you're a D.
Oh no, I'm running at 2.6, so or maybe just down to 2.5 now. So definitely coming in cat C, I think, for this race.
Very good. How's Ole doing, Ed?
Ole's doing fine. He just passed the banner. He's on his last lap. He's just about 5 seconds behind a group of 3 or 4 in front of him, pushing over 3 watts a kilogram. He's trying to catch up to him and close that gap. He's really been working it tonight. He's actually running higher average than his FTP, so averaging 2.6 watts a kilogram for the race. and currently he's pushing out about 2.7, trying to close this up, but it's a tough one for him. He has been all alone tonight, all alone, and really he's had to work hard for what he's got. He's currently in 21st position, doing great.
Swift Power seems to think he's pretty much on a par with CJ Shaw. Are they close?
CJ Shaw is about 8 seconds in front of him. There's a little bit of a lag there with the update on the Swift Power Live. So he can see him. It's a group of 3 up there. You've got CJ Shaw, A Hong, and Brian Sultana sitting out about 8-9 seconds. But they're pulling away. It's tough.
Keep pushing, Ole. Back with Alison, we have, I think, probably about 700-800 meters to go. She's in a group with A. Cobrin and Arwin. A. Cobrin from the States and Arwin. Now, if you're Antipodean and I get this wrong, I apologise sincerely. I think they're both from Australia. I'm fairly certain they're not from New Zealand. If I've got this wrong, I apologise most sincerely. But we are down to about 600 metres. All looking fairly cagey in this group, maybe waiting for an early break. We're not sure what's going to happen just yet, but we can't be too far away from that sprint banner now. I reckon we've got about 500 metres left. Just coming up to the half an hour mark with 230 metres climbed. So basically all of my estimates were completely out of the window. I thought it might have been 200. Swift Companion said 350. We were all wrong. It's probably going to be about 240. But at 17.1 out of what we think is it turns out it's 17.7 kilometres. So evidently I have no idea what I'm talking about at all. So we have 500 metres to go now. Not far away at all. They'll take this left-hand turn and they should be able to see the sprint line. Oh no, here's sprint line now. So we've only got about 300 metres to go. And it's still very, very cagey. No one wanting to make the first push. Alison just leading them out at the moment, hanging on to about 2.8 to 3.0 watts per kilo. Slight decline at the moment before we take the turn. And when we take the turn, hopefully they should be able to see the banner. It can't be far away now. There it is. Alison using the draft power up, but we've got Aero behind us, and both of them are pushing hard. Alison pushing down 240 watts. But it looks like she's going to finish third out of this group unless she's got anything left. Come on, Alison, you can do this. One more big push, take second in your group. Right on the shoulder. One more push. Oh, it's so close, but just third in the group and finishing 14th. Ed, it's all yours.
All right, Ola's coming up here. It looks like we've got just a few tenths of a kilometer going. He's on the backstretch. We can still see the group in front of us, but they're 8 to 12 seconds ahead of him. Ola's still pushing over 3 watts a kilogram, 3-4 at this point. I think he can just feel that banner coming up. Right now we're at a 2% incline. We'll be coming up shortly on the turn before the sprint banner. Here he's coming up on D. Mesmer, who's riding fairly slowly right now, so he should pass him handily, as that person is riding at about 1.3. There goes Ola. He passes him, still pushing hard at 3 watts a kilogram. Here comes the start of the sprint banner. Ola will be crossing that in a moment. Let's see, we're pushing 3.1, 2.9 to 3.1, still pushing hard. Really good for Ola. He's on 3% incline right now. We just came over the start of the sprint. He's rolling over the hill a little bit, and when we make the left-hand turn, we should be able to see that sprint banner coming up. So still pushing hard and pushing 3-4 down the hill. He can see the banner coming. There it is. Just making the turn. Come on, Ola, you can push it. He's pushing 3-2, 2.9. Come on. Let's see if he's going to go for a sprint finish. Right now, it looks like he's pushing 3-4, 4-3, 4-1, 6-9. He's going for it. 6-4. He's going. Come on, Ola. 6-5-6.
Come on, Ole.
He's really pushing hard for that final banner.
Look at that sprint.
He wants to get that time. Look at him go. He's up. He's running through. Excellent finish.
Well done, Ole, and well done to all of our riders tonight. Thank you all very much for joining us, and thanks to everyone that's participated in the HBR series so far. We're up to race 19 now, but we're just finishing off, and that's out of a total of 29. So we're on the home stretch now. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And it's good night from me, and it's good night from the rest of my team.